welcome to Not Another Pop Culture Pod. I'm Sian.
And I'm Danny. Hello again.
Hi.
It's nice to be back.
Yeah.
It's been a strange week. Like, we were just talking before, weren't we, about how we feel like we've not even used social media this week. So
definitely.
Is our podcast redundant because we've not been keeping up with the pop culture? The answer is no. We've still got plenty to talk about. Why haven't we used social media this week? Is it written in the stars? I don't even know.
Maybe. Well, to be honest, I feel like it's just been such a busy week. I've had such a good week for sort of socialising.
Yeah.
And catching up with, well, I saw you, I think, beginning of last week. I saw some friends that I've not seen for, like, quite a while. And yeah, I've just been out and about quite a lot this week.
Yeah, I feel the same, to be honest. I think I've not really had loads of time to sit down and read, which is usually what I do. I feel, like you said, as though I've been out loads, as if I've had people round loads, obviously showing off my flair, you know how it is. But yeah, it's been a good week. I think sometimes you need those weeks to kind of recharge your social batteries and, you know, get the good energy from mingling with people.
Yeah.
And sometimes you need the time to kind of step back and be like, all I want to do is scroll Insta, watch TV, read the books, and it's good to have a variety, a bit of everything.
I genuinely feel like I do need a week of nothing, but I'm not going to get that.
Yeah, especially because you're starting a new job.
I am, tomorrow. I can't believe it.
I know.
And I just finished my old job 2 days ago, and my recharge time has literally been 2 days.
How do you feel?
I feel, at the minute, like I don't really, like it doesn't feel real. Like in my head, I still think I'm going into my old job tomorrow.
Oh.
And I'm going to like log on and chat to my team. And I'm not, which is sad, but I'm really looking forward to it. I'm feeling a bit nervous, but yeah,
I'm sure
excited.
You'll be absolutely fine.
Yeah.
It is exciting. I think that's how you have to see it. You have to see it as a new adventure. It's a new part of your life. It's going to go well for you because it's something that you're interested in. Tell the listeners what your new job is.
Well, if you listened last week, you'll remember that I used to work on cruise ships for like 4 years. I worked in the duty-free, and while I'm not setting sail again, I am going to work for a cruise company as their content manager. Ooh. So it's kind of like my perfect job because, you know, I do content at the moment. Well, I was doing content. It's kind of like the sort of specialism that I've gone into post our journalism masters. So I get to combine like my two specialities, travel, cruising and content.
Ooh, I'm so excited for you. It's so up your street. Like, I can't imagine at this stage a job that would be more suited to you.
Yeah.
I think it's just, you're in a position where you wouldn't necessarily want to go back on the cruise ships, but to be able to work in content for a company that focuses on travel is just like exactly where I saw you.
Yeah.
Ooh, the only way is up. It's
Definitely.
so exciting. Oh my gosh. So we want to do a section every week and we're going to talk about our pick of the week and
our ick of the week.
our ick. So as you all know, ick is something that is not good.
Yeah.
A big no-no. So
Thumbs down.
your pick is probably going to be the fact that you're starting a new adventure.
Yeah, it is. Yeah, so that's like my major pick is also my sort of the team that I've just left. I had like a leaving drinks thing, but see, it's quite strange because in my office there were sort of 4 of us based in Manchester and then like about 10 based in London within our marketing team. 2 other people left the Manchester office, so there was like just me and one other person. So our sort of my leaving drinks on Friday, we sat in a conference room, me and my manager, and kind of did it like virtually over Teams. But my office had like a fridge just full of like beer, alcohol and stuff, which you're allowed to like go and take on a Friday afternoon.
No way.
Yeah, so that was quite fun. We did some like quizzes over Kahoot. I don't know if you've ever used Kahoot.
Yes.
Yeah.
It's so much fun. It shouldn't be,
Yeah.
but it just is.
So we did some, like, you know, like generic, like movies, TVs, music, but they were like, what's one thing that you, like, that's your specialism? And I was like, oh, I don't want to pick anything that's really niche because I feel like it's not fair to everyone else. And they were like, no, Sean, just pick something that you love.
Yeah.
So we did a Gossip Girl quiz and I won, obviously.
Did you?
Yeah.
I love that.
I got, like, every question right except for one.
How many questions were there?
About 20.
Oh.
I've, like,
A
genuinely
super fan.
genuinely rewatched Gossip Girl about 6 times.
I've never watched it.
You're missing out.
Like, I know what it's about and all that kind of thing, but I just feel like, when did it come out?
So I remember I started watching it. I was probably about 17, 18 when it came out. So just over 10 years ago, probably.
Okay.
Yeah.
I don't know why I never got into it. I've never really been a huge
not like a big
TV
TV
person, though.
But this was back in the day where, like, you know, I couldn't just, like, sit and binge watch it. I used to watch it. It was on...
Yeah.
I remember the first series, I watched it on ITV2.
Oh.
And then I remember, like, seeing on Facebook or something that it had come back out in America for season 2. And this is when I learned to, like, illegally stream TV shows. Like,
No, she didn't.
I didn't know how to do that before, but I was, like, determined to watch Gossip Girl.
Yeah.
I couldn't be bothered to wait until it came out in the UK.
Oh my gosh. Yeah. I do miss the days though of waiting for a TV show. You know, for sitting down with your family and being like, oh, you know,
Yeah.
something's coming on at 9 p.m. and everyone's sat there like, ooh, how
I think
exciting.
there's certain types of TV show that works for. Like, I don't know, I feel like Game of Thrones, for example.
Yeah.
That was always quite a ritual, like, wherever I was, because sometimes I was, like, on a ship when that came out.
Yeah.
So I'd have to, like, go out and download it, and, like, there'd be, like, a group of us, we'd all, like, download it together,
Yeah.
and then go, like, sit in someone's cabin and watch it. But same with, like, my family, you know, if I was, like, back staying with my parents or whatever, we'd all wait until, I think it used to come out at, like, 2 a.m. on a Sunday morning or something, so Monday night we'd all sit down and watch it.
Oh, I love stuff like that. And I think when you speak to your parents as well, like my mum said, they had rituals like that too. You know, they'd go to the shop and buy like something really bougie to eat, like whilst they were watching like the show, and it would be their weekly treat almost.
Yeah.
Because I feel like our parents' generation almost didn't go out for dinner and stuff as much as us millennials
Yeah, I
do.
know. My mum's always like, you're going out for dinner so much, like, it's so expensive. And especially when she comes to Manchester, she thinks everything is, like, so expensive. And I'm like, it's really, like, it's not. It probably is, you know, my parents live in a fairly, like, small town.
In comparison, it probably is. Do you know what I've just thought when we were talking about price and, you know, going out for dinner? Did you see this week? I don't know who it was, but somebody said that if millennials just stopped like buying takeaway
Kirsty
coffee.
Allsop. She was like, if they got rid of their Netflix.
And and stop getting takeaway coffee. Like,
I'm not being funny. I don't even pay for my Netflix subscription.
I know. And it is a rare occasion that I get
takeaway
takeaway coffee.
Oh, to be fair, I do
I
do be getting coffees.
You're a big fan of a chain.
I've literally just been for a Starbucks this
you?
morning.
See? You know what you have to do if you want to afford a house, apparently.
If I get rid of that Disney Plus subscription
I know.
and my coffees,
I'm rolling my eyes so hard
I
at
still
that.
wouldn't be able to buy a house.
Do you know what though? I was watching Loose Women. I don't watch Loose Women, of course. I'm a cool millennial. But anyway, it was on. You know, I wasn't actively watching it.
It's just
but
there
then-
in the background.
Yeah, and Ruth Langsford was backing the fact that if millennials just, you know, saved up more or whatever, we'd be able to afford a house. And I'm like,
I think maybe if landlords reduced the rent, I might be able to save up.
exactly. Exactly. It's so well, it's not impossible, but it is really difficult, and you do really have to sacrifice your whole life if you want to save up as well as rent. And then there's the whole conundrum of like, well, how much is that going to take a hit on your mental health if you're not able to leave the place that you're
And I think,
renting?
like, for me as a single person, like, it's really, the environment is, like, so against me. Like, I feel like if you're in a couple and you're both saving, you know, you're both working full time and you're both saving, then maybe it's a little bit more like doable. But for me as a single person, trying to save even just buy like a 1-bed flat in Manchester,
Yeah.
like it's gonna take me years, essentially.
It is really difficult. Like you say, if you're in a couple, it makes it that little bit easier. But the odds definitely do seem stacked against single people and just people in general that are trying to save up, because you're assuming that everybody of our age is on a good wage, and not everybody is. It's just a fact.
Yeah. Like, genuinely, coming out of a master's degree, I wasn't on a good wage, I would say, until, you know, like the back end of last year. Well, I'm 29 now, so at 28 years old, I finally got onto what I would say is a sustainable, decent wage for the amount of, like, time and effort I've put into, you know, education, my portfolio, doing all sorts of, like, freelancing work to build my portfolio and stuff.
Exactly. It takes a while, and a lot of people don't do master's degrees, so they haven't upskilled themselves enough to necessarily get those higher paid jobs. But then you're sort of in a dilemma of, what do you do a master's degree in if you're not especially passionate about anything in particular? It's annoying. I just feel like if I hadn't have done my master's, I wouldn't be in the position that I'm in now. But a master's degree is almost like a luxury.
100%.
It's something that you can't take it lightly.
No.
If you're going to do a master's, you have to be serious about what you're doing, because otherwise, essentially, you've just wasted a year of your life.
And what, like 10 grand's worth
of
student debt.
I know, like now I pay my master's degree back, and my original student loan too, but my master's, I don't begrudge. I know that sounds really daft, but I almost think my undergraduate was a stepping stone, but a 3-year stepping stone is like...
Well, same for me. Like, so I did my undergrad in politics and economics, and at the time, like, I always thought I was interested in sort of journalism, which is now even not where I'm, like, headed. But I thought I could be, like, a political correspondent. Did economics as well, just because I'd done it at school. And then when I got to uni, I was just terrible at it. So I ended up with a sort of, like, major minor degree, which not a lot of people, like, have in this country. It's a bit weird. And yeah, so I finished that degree, had, like, literally no idea what to do. And that's when I went off, you know, cruising.
I can't
like,
say I blame you.
Yeah.
See, I did my undergraduate in philosophy, and I remember the number one joke that I would get from people, like new people I met, was, what are you going to do with that? Work in the philosophy factory? And I was like, wow, that's original. After the first time I heard it, I was just like, no.
I used to get asked if I was going to be a politician. I was like, absolutely not. Not a chance.
I know. Imagine, though, being a philosopher in this day and age. Like, what?
Like, what does that even mean?
I don't know, just someone that chats shines.
Yeah. I mean, isn't that what we're doing right now?
Yeah, so maybe we are philosophers.
Philosophizing, is that a word?
Yeah, I think it is. Yeah, I guess that is all we're doing. But that, I think I got a bit of a reality check when I was looking for jobs, because I was like, I don't want to work in marketing. I had a couple of interviews for different marketing companies, and it was like all commission based. Obviously you get a salary, but then, you know, you get commission. And as hard-faced as I can be, not to paint a bad picture of myself, but I can, obviously, in my line of work, you kind of have to be. But I'm not hard-faced enough to actively scam people.
Yeah, I think that's like, because I say to people like, oh, I work in digital marketing, and they're like, their first thought is like hard sales marketing. I'm like, no, that's like not what I do at all. Like,
no.
Sometimes they just say like, oh, I'm a copywriter.
Yeah.
And then people are still like, what?
I think you are a content creator, but I think that baffles people too.
It does. And I think I literally like tweeted this the other day, because I said to someone, oh, like, I work in content, and they were just like, what does that mean? I was like, in this day and age, all we do is consume content. Like,
yeah. How is the word content so baffling? Yeah. It's such a... I don't know. It's such a big hill for some people to climb in terms of like understanding what it means, but it's so straightforward. It's just, you're writing.
Yeah.
I'm a writer. Then people would be like, do you write books?
I
No,
know.
I don't write books. Maybe one day I'd love to write a book.
Hopefully.
I've definitely like sat on my laptop a couple of times with some ideas, but I think to write a book I'd need to take a sabbatical you know, probably move to somewhere hot. Somewhere that I could stare at a gorgeous beach or the sea or something all day every day and write a book. But that's definitely one for the future, I think.
Yeah.
I think I'd like to write a book by the time I'm like mid-30s. That would be the kind of dream, because a lot of journalists do end up writing fiction. I think that's really interesting.
Yeah.
It's almost like if you're interested in writing full stop, you almost have like this creative flair lingering
I think
somewhere.
you just like, especially as a journalist, you come across so many sort of stories that like can influence fiction.
Yeah, for sure. And I think a lot of your life experiences as well will influence the kind of fiction that you write. I've always said, like, if I wrote a fiction book, it would kind of loosely be based off like some of the things I've like come across.
Yeah, definitely. So, Danielle, what is your pick of the week this week?
I would say probably the fact that Joe and I have finally put art up around our flat. So it had been a bit bare for a few weeks. I mean, we've got plants and stuff. I've definitely acquired more plants over the 2 weeks we've been there. But a place just feels so much more homely, doesn't it, when you've got art up and a few, you know, just bits and bobs and trinkets everywhere. I know a lot of people like minimalistic style, but that's not me at all. I like colour.
Could never be you.
I know, could never be me. I've got my astrology cushion. So, like, Joe's little sister came round the other day and she was like, how did you convince Joe to get astrology cushions? And I was like, I'm persuasive.
Yeah.
But yeah, it just feels so much, it felt homely from the second we walked in, to be honest, and it sounds really unlikely, but it felt like ours almost from the second we got the keys. But now it just feels like an actual home. So that's been really, really nice.
Yeah, definitely. And I'm the same, like, I've got some art up on the walls, so I kind of like, I've been in my flat for 2 years, but...
Have you? Is that how long you've been here?
But I moved bedrooms, didn't I? So I was in like the small bedroom when I moved in.
Oh, yeah.
And then when my old flatmate moved out, I was like, right, I'm moving into
I'm claiming it.
I'm moving into that big room. But do you remember in my old bedroom, I put up a gallery wall?
Oh, yes.
I put about 10 pictures on the wall and I literally like nailed them all into the wall, which is definitely gonna...
Oh, no.
like, deduct some money from that deposit. But the walls are all a bit of a mess, to be honest, anyway.
Yeah, well, if it needs repainting anyway, like...
Exactly.
Whatever.
So I nailed them all into the wall. They were up for about like 2 months and then I moved rooms. So I've put like one of them back up with command strips. And I'm going to put the rest up soon. And then I yesterday built like a little thing for my desk to put like my computer monitors on.
Oh, it's so cute.
So
I
yeah,
love it.
I'm getting like a little office setup going in here. I'm going to put some art up above my computer.
Yeah.
And just make
you
it
should
like...
get a really... like a nice calendar or something. Like, I'm such a calendar user. I always mark if I have different shifts or I need to cover somebody that particular day on a different title. Like, I, you know, put it all on the calendar.
Yeah.
I'd be lost without a calendar.
Oh, do you know what? I'm the biggest like iCal user now.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, no.
Like literally everything. I have to put it in my phone's calendar because
no way.
I'll forget it.
Are you not? See, I'm so much more of a writer downer. Like, I just love it.
When I'm, you know, like at work, if I'm writing at work, I find it easiest to handwrite stuff.
Yeah.
I find it gets my like creative juices flowing.
Yeah, definitely.
But
There's nothing like paper to pen, is there?
But I just don't have the time a lot of the
Paper
time.
to pen?
Pen to paper.
Pen to paper, more like.
It's then like you write it all down and then you have to type that up. And I just don't have time to be doing that.
Yeah, that kind of adds an extra step in the process that you don't need. So it's like when we had to do our journalism exams for our masters and they were online, I think for our media law exam, I wrote down everything I could remember really quick.
Yeah.
And then just typed away and like thankfully it went really well. So
God knows how I passed that media law exam, but I did, and I passed it with probably like a decent mark as well.
Yeah, and then when my work were like, oh, you have to do media law again. And I was like, oh no, sat a media law exam. And then they were like, if you want to be like a senior journalist, you have to like sit it again. And I was like, is this a sick joke? I was like, there's no way I'm going to pass 3 media law exams in my life.
No.
But
I mean, it's obviously very, very important, but
yeah,
it is a bit tedious and
you
boring, isn't it?
can't be cutting corners when it comes to the legality of the scenarios. But, you know, it's clearly something stuck because somehow I did it. But yeah, so tell me, what is your ick of the week?
Right, so my ick of the week is a song. And it's a song called Emo Girl by Machine Gun Kelly and Willow, as in Willow Smith.
Really?
Yeah. It's... So, right, the thing with Machine Gun Kelly, I used to quite like him, like, when he first started doing, like, pop-punk music, whatever. I was like, okay, this is kind of cool, like, bringing it back into, you know, the mainstream a bit. He brought out an album, which I didn't mind. It was, like, produced by Travis Barker from Blink, so I was like, that influence, definitely, I liked that. Then he kind of like got together with like Megan Fox, and I was like, okay, hot couple alert. But now they both kind of get on my nerves, and this latest song, I swear to God, it's so annoying. Like,
I need to listen to it and report back.
It sounds like a parody of like a pop punk song.
In fact, right, listeners, I'm gonna listen to this song and then we'll be right back.
Right, so we're back. Danielle's just had a quick little listen to Emo Girl. Can you see why it's my ick of the week?
Yeah, I think, like, forget my ick of the week. Like, that is my new ick of the week. It just feels a bit teen vibes.
Do you know what I mean? Like, Machine Gun Kelly must be, like, in his mid-30s or something. Why are you singing songs for 12-year-olds?
It's kind of weird. I'm not into it.
Yeah, like, I did like his, you know, some of his stuff that he was coming out with. And I thought it, like, I just liked that it was kind of reviving pop punk a bit, because there were loads of bands out there still doing it, but
not as much in the mainstream. Yeah, no, I'm not into it, but you fully know how I feel about that type of music. I was into it when I was like 12.
Well, that's why I feel like that song is like made for 12-year-olds.
Yeah, but then the lyrics are a little bit like just icky.
Yeah, just not a fan.
No, but can I just say that Machine Gun Kelly and Megan Fox are both tourist people, so
yes,
here we are again, concerned over the welfare of tourist people. Every single podcast episode, I'm going to make it my business to mention tourist people, to at them. But yeah, no, not into that. I don't want to be too rude, but...
Ick of the week.
Yeah.
Also, the music video, right, they've just taken, like, the set of Twin Peaks and turned it into their music video, and then...
Oh, was that the one that you were sending the other day saying you like the flooring?
I do like the flooring, right?
So do I, but I don't like that song.
Yeah.
The flooring's where the greatness stops. Yeah, not into it. Not into it at all.
So what was your ick of the week?
Well, funnily enough, it's also music related. So I feel really bad saying this, but my ick of the week was kind of the Brits. There was just something about it, lacked that je ne sais quoi that the Brits normally has. And I don't know whether I've kind of deluded myself into thinking that the Brits was like this more amazing award ceremony than it actually was. But don't get me wrong, I think Mo Gilligan did a really good job. I was actually kind of amazed at how good he was. He's so cute. He can't do any wrong in my opinion. Well, obviously if he did something wrong, he can. But like, so far,
he's yet to do anything wrong.
Yeah, I think that he did an absolutely great job, and you know, it was just it just felt a bit overproduced, a bit like the same people were getting nominated for the same awards. People that shouldn't necessarily have won, in my opinion, did win.
I think some people were really deserving. I think Sam Fender, definitely really deserving. Lil Sims.
Yeah. Definitely. I really like her. I really rate her. I think she's going to go places.
100%.
especially when you've had that almost like validation from the Brits. Even though I didn't particularly enjoy watching it this year, it can do wonders for your career. So I do think that she's brilliant.
So, like, the girl that won Rising Star, Holly Humberstone, she's actually from my hometown. I don't know her, like, never met her or anything, but she's, like, quite a fair bit younger than me, but she actually went to my school.
Oh,
Yeah,
so she's 22, isn't she?
Yeah, it's quite cool to see someone, you know, from a small town. Like,
Yeah.
not a lot really happens in my town, in my hometown. So
Well, it does now.
Yeah, exactly.
Wasn't Margaret Thatcher from
Oh,
your
no, let's not go there, please.
It's pretty famous.
Yeah.
For all the wrong reasons.
Isaac Newton also discovered gravity.
In Grantham?
Yeah, or like roundabouts.
Really? Oh, another claim to fame.
Yeah.
That's pretty cool.
It's always the one that I go with when people are like, Margaret Thatcher, and I'm like, nope, Isaac Newton.
You've got to counterbalance it. Yeah. No, it was nice to see somebody so young perform, and I said to you at the time, I wasn't really loving the type of music, but like we spoke about on the last podcast, it's because it wasn't
sad
upbeat.
girl song.
Yeah, I'm not into the sad girl songs, but there's no denying she had a lovely voice. Just not really my particular cup of tea, but
Yeah.
I just want to say Adele looked so nice in that like
didn't she?
sparkly dress. I was like, oh, when she took it off for the short black one, I was like, no, put the other one back on. Like, yeah, I want to know who does her makeup, because they always get it spot on these days.
Oh my god, how random was the opening Ed Sheeran and Bring Me the Horizon? Like, what? Like,
Ed Sheeran's like water. He is everywhere. He's... I have such mixed opinions about Ed Sheeran. Like, on the one hand, I used to be genuinely and undeniably utterly obsessed with him.
Like, genuinely, like, when he first came out, like, he was quite edgy, I'd say, at the time. Like, when 18 first came out,
Yeah.
I was probably about, like, 16 or something, 16, 17, and it was, like, quite a cool song. Like,
Yeah.
I still quite like the song 18, and his
Yeah.
first album was pretty decent, but I don't know what it is about him. I just feel like he's just
I do...
everywhere.
He's one of those people that I do think to some extent fame has changed him, but I think you'd be hard pushed to find somebody that fame hasn't changed at all.
Yeah.
Like you say, he had an album, or like what do you call it? Is it an EP if it's like only a few songs or something?
Yeah.
I don't even, yeah. He had an EP out before his first album, and I remember being like in love from that. And then he released 18 and I was like, oh, this is really good. And then I went to see him and he was amazing. And then I can't remember which album he brought out after that. Was it the green one? Is it like Divide or something? I don't know.
They were all like called like Plus or like Multiply or something, weren't they?
And I just remember kind of being like, meh, not into it anymore. It kind of went a bit middle-aged vibes for me then. And I remember, were you like into him as in into all of his songs, or did you just think 18 was good?
I'm trying to think, like, I really liked 18, and I think there was a few off his first... What was his first album? Plus, Multiply?
I have no idea.
Whatever.
The orange one. It was the orange cover album.
It was like that one that You Need Me, whatever it's called, I Don't Need You.
I can rap that whole thing, but I'm not going to.
I quite liked that at the time.
Obsessed.
I don't know. Like, I genuinely would never put an Ed Sheeran song on. When Shape of You came out, right, I felt like I quite enjoyed it. I thought it was quite catchy.
Yeah, Joe hates that song because...
And now it just gets played everywhere. And
well,
I'm like,
that's what he said. He was like, it's just played so much. Like, when he went to Cambodia, he was like, that song got played all the time. And he was like, why? Why is this song getting played all the time when I'm like halfway across the world? Can't even escape it there. But yeah, his songs are catchy. I'm always like, I'm not listening to it. And then somehow it just like comes up somewhere and I'm like, they're always such earworms. But
do you know what? I quite enjoyed Ollie Sykes singing Bad Habits, to be fair.
it was good. And, you know, I'm not really into that kind of music, but it was good. It worked well.
Yeah.
It just shows you Ed Sheeran just seems to have this hold on like the whole of the music industry. Everyone loves him.
He is a good songwriter.
Yeah.
I think just in the past few years, he's just been writing, like, he's just been, like, churning out
hits.
music.
Yeah. He's trying to write hits, not stuff from the heart. I feel like his first album was from the heart, and it was, like, genuinely touching.
Yeah.
Like, I remember he had a song on there called You and I don't remember if you... I don't know if you remember it, but it was, like... Oh, it got you right in the feels, and it was sad. It was, like, cry sad, but after that... It just felt like he was almost writing the sadder songs to fulfill some sort of brief, rather
what
than...
was that song called? The one, something out loud.
Thinking out loud.
Yeah, God, I couldn't even think of
that
name.
everyone has at, like, their wedding or something. That's their first song.
Yeah, like, honest to God, that was, like, the first one for me where I was like, this is just getting overplayed.
Yeah, not into it.
I think as soon as Beyonce jumps on a remix for the song, I'm done with it, to be honest. And I think she did jump on a remix on that one, and I was like, nah.
Not for you.
No.
Yeah, but no, the Brits just weren't really for me, to be honest, this year. But you never know what next year might bring.
I also just have to say, poor Anne-Marie falling off the stage. Like, that would be me 100%.
Same. I actually love her. Another person that can do no wrong.
I'm not, like, a fan of her music, but I quite like her personality.
I feel as though if I met her, we'd just be chaos together. But I would be there for it. But yeah, her personality just seems so, like, sparkly and lovely. And I love literally every single outfit that she wears. I'm like, oh, how does she make everything look good? I'm just like, piss off. But yeah.
So, I wanted to talk about, I don't think you've watched it, but The Tinder Swindler.
I've seen it everywhere on social media. I feel like everybody's watched it. It's so annoying because the first day that it came out, I was like, right, Joe, let's watch this. But then, like, we saw it was 2 hours. And we were like,
it's like a documentary.
A documentary, film. Like it's a commitment. So then we kind of were like, oh, not really in the mood. And then we went to watch it the day after, and his sister was on the Netflix account, and we were like, no, when are we going to watch this? So we do definitely need to sit down and commit to it, because if not, I'm just going to watch it myself. Sorry, Joe. But everyone's talking about it, and I keep seeing the memes of this man that's like scammed somebody out of so much money, and I obviously don't. I know the premise of it, but I don't know details.
Yeah, and I'm not going to spoil it for you.
Please don't.
What I will ask you is, do you think that you would be, like, easily scammed by a man?
No.
No.
I'm far too, like, guarded when it comes to people, like, especially with money.
Oh my God.
Get your mitts off my dough.
Like,
I've worked damn hard.
Without spoiling too much, like, these women were taking out, like, credit cards and loans for this man. I have never even taken out a loan for myself.
Innit?
I've never even had a credit card. I'm nearly 30.
If I was going to take a credit card, like, it would be for me and my shopping addiction, not for somebody else.
I'm, like, so precious with my money. I
same.
I don't live outside of my means. No, if that makes sense.
Same.
I'm never doing this, like, Klarna pay. Like,
no. It's stupid.
I feel like I'm lucky that I've, like, grown up in a family where I kind of never really wanted for anything, but, like, my parents were also my mum is, like, the most sensible with money person ever.
Yeah.
So she always taught me, like, don't live outside of your means. She was like, never get into debt. And I think she really instilled that in me. So I actually feel like I need to take out a credit card because I need a credit score, and I don't, like, currently have, like, good... I don't have, like, bad credit, but I just don't have, like, a credit history because I've never had a credit card and I've never taken out a loan. I hardly, like, ever go into my overdraft.
Yeah.
I didn't go into my overdraft until I was about 27. See, I think that's, like, saying something.
I don't actually have an overdraft because, like you say, my mum always said to me, the only time you ever get yourself into debt is when you're getting a mortgage.
Yeah,
because obviously that is a type of debt. And obviously a student loan is technically, but... I think if it benefits you to the extent that a degree can, then I don't see it as an issue. You're just paying it back. It's like a repayment scheme almost, isn't it? Yeah. And it doesn't affect your credit score in any way or whatever. But like you say, my mum's always said to me, like, if you can't afford it at the time, then you can't get it. I want a Chanel bag.
Oh, God, same.
A bitch can't afford it, so a bitch ain't getting a Chanel bag. Like, So there are certain things that you can treat yourself to, and... You can be like, oh, I've done a really good job. I've got a new job. I've got a rise. I've, achieved whatever. And you might want to mark it with something like treating yourself to a piece of jewellery that means something to you, or a handbag if that's what floats your boat, or whatever, even a new pair of shoes. But if it's something that you simply cannot afford, then I don't think that you should be getting yourself into debt for it. And this is kind of my biggest issue with like influencer culture. I've seen a lot of influencers, you know, a couple from Manchester as well, that they actively promote stuff like Louis Vuitton bags to their followers. And I'm like, most of your followers are working class women.
And it's all like fine and well if they're getting it for free.
Exactly. You can't be trying to get all your like fans and followers to, you know, to buy this Louis Vuitton bag because you think it's amazing, but you've been #gifted it.
Yeah.
I just feel like it's cheeky, but that's the way that it works. And these people go out and they get themselves into debt to look good on their feed.
On Instagram. And I've seen like stories of influencers hiring out like fake private jet sets.
What?
For photo shoots and stuff like that. So it looks like they're on a jet. I bet that's what the Tinder swindler did.
Probably. Well, he was defo up to something because I'm sorry, but if he's scamming women out of money, he surely wasn't actually rich.
Well, I think he must have like pretended to be rich to get the first woman, scammed that woman out of money, and then used that money to scam the next woman, if that makes sense.
If you were attracted to a man because he was rich, why would he need you to take a credit card out for him? And I know that from looking at the pictures of this guy, he's quite dishy. He's not my thing, but he's all right if you're into like all American sleaze bag type looks. Do you know what I mean? But no,
it couldn't be
Zac
me.
Efron couldn't even scam me out of my money.
Exactly.
As attractive as he is. Oh, he is my celeb crush. I can't even lie.
Zephron. I feel like I was like always a little bit old for that.
Really?
Yeah, like when High School Musical came out, I was, you know, well into my late teens at that point.
Were you?
Yeah. Or I was in my teens.
Yeah, you were definitely like...
I was probably about 15, 16.
I was going to say you were probably 15 because I feel like I was just on the cusp of turning like 12.
Yeah.
So yeah, that would make sense.
I was also like big into my like emo phase at that point, so I wasn't going home sitting down and watching Disney Channel.
I was definitely watching High School Musical on repeat. I had the DVD. I was obsessed.
My little sister, like I don't think she was like massively into High School Musical, but I remember taking them, like my sister and my cousin, to the cinema to see HSM 4.
4?
Yeah, it was like the only one that came out at the cinema.
Was it? I didn't get that far. I watched 1 and 2 and was kind of over it by then.
My sister was like big into Hannah Montana, and I took them to see the Hannah Montana movie.
Do you know what I went to see in the cinema? This is so embarrassing. I've never really liked him. The Justin Bieber movie.
Oh God, I didn't even know he.
It was awful. I think we were like 15. Me and my friend went to the Trafford Centre to watch it. Yeah, it was every bit as shite as you could imagine. No. That is an ick. The ick of life. Ick of the
century.
Literally. Oh my gosh. Another thing you've been watching as well though on Disney Plus is that Pam and Tommy.
Yeah. So I'm not caught up 100% with it. So they release like 3 episodes at once, but then they're releasing the rest like weekly.
What?
Yeah. So I watched like 3 in a row, and then was like doing Pamela Anderson makeup while I was sat watching it.
Oh, it looked so good. I loved it.
It was like a Sunday night. I was very bored. Had nothing to do. Was like, well,
I'll just give myself full fleek.
Yeah, a bit of a Pammy makeover. There's another episode that came out the other day that I've just not had time to sit and watch, but we were talking earlier, like, Pam and Tommy are, like, the blueprint for, like, what we were saying about, like, MGK and Megan Fox, like, Kourtney Kardashian, Travis Barker, like, Kim K and Pete Davidson, like...
Sorry, but no, don't mention that boy on this podcast.
I think they're just, like, the original, like, glamour girl with, like, tattooed rock star.
Yeah. I saw somebody say, though, obviously, again, I've not watched it because I'm so bad with keeping up with TV and stuff, but somebody did say on social media that Tommy's tattoos look terrible.
Yeah.
They look, apparently, since they were they've got such a big budget. How can they not make these tattoos look real?
It all looks... This is the thing, like, I think the show's gone really hard on trying to make them look like the characters.
Okay.
Maybe over, like, a bit of... And, like, I understand, like, if you're portraying people that actually exist, you want to do a good job at portraying them. But I think it's on the, like, that line of, like, almost parodying.
Okay.
Like, caricaturing, I think isn't actually the word that I mean. Like, especially with Lily James, like, I don't know, they've put, like, so much, like, makeup, and I don't know if she's got, like, prosthetics on as well.
Maybe.
And, like, the voice acting, it's, like, it's, like, very much on that line for me where it's, like, it could go a bit over the top with it, rather than, like, substance of the story, if that makes sense.
Yeah. I will have to watch it. It's not something I know an awful lot about, so I feel like for me going into it would be with fresh eyes. I don't have a clue what happened.
Yeah.
I know that, was there a sex tape or something?
Basically, their sex tape got stolen and sold.
Yeah. That'd be quite deep, wouldn't it?
Yeah.
I don't think anybody had enjoyed... Well, Kim Kardashian bloody loved it. What a career maker. But, yeah, it's a violation, isn't it?
100%. And I think, like, I'm not 100% caught up on it yet. Like, in the first 3 episodes, like, it's not really, like, delved into, like, the impact of that yet. So I'm looking forward to finding out, like, how it impacted, like, especially Pamela Anderson, because I think it's definitely, like, harder to be the woman in that situation.
For sure. Definitely. I think I've seen so much feminist... I was going to say writing, but not even writing, like, things on social media, etc., saying that it is so much more of a violation for women, because I think... on the whole, women tend to be a lot more private about stuff like that. Women won't get together generally in groups of, like, their girlfriends and be like, oh, shag this fit lad this week. Like, it's just not the way that we operate. We're a lot more, you know, obviously there are women that are exceptions to the rule and stuff, and even the loudest and most brash of women are not like that.
Yeah.
Like, it's just kind of
I think the thing is as well, like, from the story, like, I don't know how true it is to the real story, but the guy that, like, stole it and sold it was trying to get revenge on Tommy Lee, not on Pamela Anderson. So
he's violated them both for his personal weird trip. No, I don't enjoy that.
No. But yeah, looking forward to watching the rest of it as it comes out. So, Danielle, what have you been reading lately? I actually haven't read anything for a while, so you can, like,
so you just asked me about the books.
Take this category.
So I finished Shawshank Redemption.
Oh, wow.
By Stephen King, which was so good. I mean, massive trigger warning needed, but obviously books like that don't get trigger warnings, do they? But it's about a prison, basically, and obviously don't want to give too much away, but
I'm sure a lot of people have seen the film.
Yeah, I actually haven't seen the film, so I really need to watch it now. I've read it.
We're the opposite here. I've seen the film, not read the book.
Yeah, which way's the right way, though?
I don't know. So, like, something that I did, like, sort of last year, or, well, it might have been, like, 2 years ago now. During the first lockdown, I read the Godfather book, and I had, like, I'd actually never sat down and, like, watched the Godfather, like, trilogy in full before that. So, like, since reading that, I have, like, sat down and watched it, and it's, like, even though I read the book first, I thought I would then go in and prefer the book to the films, but I definitely didn't. The films, for me.
Really?
Yeah.
Ooh, controversial opinions.
Like, fix, in my opinion, not fix, but they kind of... There's some problematic things in the book, which I think the film's taken a different direction.
Okay, so it's content rather than portrayal.
Yeah.
If that makes sense. Yeah, so I do need to watch Shawshank Redemption now. I do personally think, like, when you read the book first, in my opinion, I've never watched a film that I've thought that was better than the book. I think because the book, you can put so much of your own experience, so much of your own imagination into the reading of the book, it always ends up better.
Yeah.
And the film never quite gets to you the same, in my opinion anyway. So it is my favourite book of all time. And the first film, as in the original.
Like the TV film.
Was it a TV film?
It was like a two-parter, wasn't it? Like a TV two-parter.
Was it? The old one?
Yeah.
I didn't know that. Anyway, that is amazing. I thought that was so good. The remake, it was okay. Like, I'd give it a solid 6 out of 10, but I didn't connect with it quite the same way. I feel like it wasn't as true to how I'd imagined it. I'd almost imagined it more like the older film, and neither of them quite hit the same as the book, though, because obviously the book is like 1,100 pages or something, so it's an absolute ride.
See, I have like another thing, like Stephen King again. Have you read Carrie?
I haven't, it was the first book that my mum ever read.
Really?
I've seen the film though.
So the old film.
Rare? How bloody rare is that? Yeah,
know.
the old film.
So I watched...
Is it a remake?
There is a remake with like Chloe Grace Moretz from like a few years ago, which was terrible. But I watched that 70s film first.
Yeah.
And I love it. It's like one of my favourite films.
It is so messed up. I love it.
And I tried to read the book and I just couldn't get into the book. And I think the book was written in a way that it was quite hard to adapt into a film.
Yeah.
So yeah, I'm like the opposite on that one.
Sometimes his writing can be quite long-winded and it takes a while to get to the point. A lot of people I've seen have said that his books could be like made into half the size.
Yeah.
But there's something about the way he writes that just kind of, I'm like, oh, this is so good.
I think his books would be better adapted into like series.
Well,
like horror series.
So he's got a book called Mr. Mercedes, and it's a detective style. So he's quite versatile in his writing. And it was released in America, so you couldn't get it on any channel. But I managed to get hold of it. And that was so good, honestly. It was... I can't remember almost how it starts, but it's about a detective, and there's this guy that's an absolute nut job that lives in his mum's basement and has like a strange relationship with his mum, which Stephen King always seems to write about stuff like that, which kind of makes me worried for his overall well-being. But write whatever you want, it's fiction at the end of the day, we hope. So
touching wood right now.
So it's about this guy that lives in his mum's basement that's like determined to end the career and the life, I guess, of this detective guy. But that was such a good series. I can't remember how many episodes it was, but that worked so well. I can definitely see different more modern Stephen King books being made into series too. Like there's one recently called The Institute. That gives me serious Stranger Things vibes. I would love to see that made into like a series on Netflix or something. But he's a weird man. I don't know whether he'd ever do anything on Netflix. I don't know whether he'd feel that was too kind of mainstream for him.
Yeah, maybe. Well, the thing is, though, I feel like at this point his works have been adapted so many times. Like there was that Pet Cemetery. I don't even know how to pronounce that spelling.
It's just Cemetery. I think Pet Cemetery.
Yeah.
The recent one.
I thought that was awful.
So did I.
And then I watched Doctor Strange. Is that Stephen King?
Yeah.
Yeah. I watched that. I quite like that.
Oh, wait, Doctor Sleep.
Yeah, not Doctor Strange. That's the Marvel.
Yeah, I was going to say that's Marvel. Yeah, Doctor Sleep.
Yeah.
Which was the sequel from The Shining.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I quite liked Doctor Sleep, but you didn't.
I didn't vibe with it at all. It's too
long.
long.
It's quite slow and long, but I feel like to do justice, I've not read the book, but I'm presuming like to do justice to the book,
it had to be long.
And that's why I think they'd be better sometimes as series.
Yeah, I didn't particularly enjoy the book either. Just
didn't hit for you.
No, it was a bit of a mess. For the most part, I don't think he really ever annoys me in the like the way that he writes and the tone that he writes or anything. But that. No, I should have liked it because it was all like witchy and like that sort of thing, but no, I wasn't into it. The Shining, however.
I've not read the book.
Oh, it's so good. You need to.
I feel like this whole conversation is like a Stephen
I've
King
not watched
novel.
the film.
You've not watched the film. I've not read the book.
Yeah. The film is outstanding, though. I know you have to forgive it because it is old and, you know, it's not as techie as we'd like it to be these days. But once you've accepted the fact that it was done so long ago,
the thing is, though, I just don't think Stanley Kubrick should. I mean, I'm like, this is very controversial. Stanley Kubrick is like one of the most like applauded like producers, directors ever, but apparently he was just like so like he's not a well-known feminist, let's put it that way. And I always forget her name, but the main actress that like plays the mum, apparently he was just like awful to her on set.
As in mean or harassing?
Like mean, like pushing her, like traumatizing her.
Oh my God.
And he says it was like to get the best performance out of her, but you know, he wasn't doing the same thing with Jack Nicholson.
Imagine
or like any of the other actors.
Imagine being abusive to somebody and being like, "Oh, I'm just trying to get the best performance out of them."
This goes back to like what I was saying like last week about the Lolita film. Like he should not have been the person making that film because he like is clearly like not like I don't know. I just think he's a bit problematic in my opinion.
I don't really know enough, but I am definitely going to have a cheeky Google after this and see what's going on.
Not a well-known feminist, let's put it that way.
But to move away from Stephen King, I'm currently reading. Well, I'd read a lot of heavy books, so a bit of fantasy, horror, obviously Shawshank. I was just like, I need a romance because romance is like my genre.
Coming up to Valentine's Day as
well.
well.
I know. So I'm reading The Spanish Love Deception and I can't remember who it's by, but it's such a good book. Like it's the trope is enemies to lovers.
Oh, of course.
So, which is so good. It never happens in real life, but it's great.
I don't know what you're talking about. I'm always in an enemies to lovers situation. I'm not really.
I was just looking at you like, girl, what? But it kind of gives me, I don't know if anybody listening has read The Hating Game. It gives me that kind of vibe, but it's like that, but so much better. There's just something about the way it's written and it's so gripping. And essentially the whole premise of the book is this woman needs a date because she's pretended to her family that she has a boyfriend and she doesn't. So there's this boy in the office that for some reason offers to be her date, even though they don't get on. He then needs her to pretend to be his date for this charity auction where he's getting bid on. It's really it's really cringe, but you know when you just need that relief.
Light-hearted, yeah.
I think I'm on page 160. They're not even in Spain yet. There's so much to come. Apparently it's steamy AF, so I can't wait for the for the sex scenes. So we're just gonna see how well written they are because I think sometimes that's where books like this fall down. The sex scenes are a bit in out, shake it all about the end. And I'm just like, we need that build-up, girl. But I feel like there is a lot of build-up because they've not even kissed yet and it is nearly 200 pages in, so I'm just kind of like, come on, speed up the process.
Pick up the pace.
I know, exactly, but yeah, I'm really enjoying it. And like you say, it's Valentine's Day soon. Are you doing anything in particular? Going to do a bit of lighting a candle and feeling the vibes?
Obviously, I actually start my new job on Valentine's Day, so
that's exciting.
Yeah, I'll probably just come home after work and take a nice bath or something.
Get a takeaway, treat yourself. Feel good vibes.
What about you? What are you and Joe up to?
So I'm off all next week and Joe's not. So I'm just going to be pissing him off all week. No, we're going out for dinner. And yeah, hopefully he's got me a beautiful Valentine's Day balloon. I keep saying get me a balloon, but he just won't. my friend at work joked saying, what would you do if you proposed on Valentine's Day? And I was like, say no. Like, I would find that so embarrassing and cringe.
yeah.
He knows that for a fact, though.
Yeah.
Be original, pick a different day. Like, apparently 10% of all proposals happen on Valentine's Day, which is just a bit staged.
Yeah.
I said 85% or 90%, I can't do maths clearly, of all the other proposals happen on like Christmas Eve or something.
Probably.
People always seem
New
to get
Year's Eve
engaged around that time of year. But yeah, we're just keeping it low key. Like, we're obviously recently moved, so we're just going somewhere local. I can't really be bothered to like make a big deal out of Valentine's Day. It's just a bit crap all round, isn't it? It's like stuff like New Year's Eve where there's so much hype placed on it, but what's the point? It's just, I don't want to sound like a miserable bitch,
like
but it's just capitalist.
One of my favourite like shows ever was Mad Men, which was all about like advertising industry, and I can't think of that exact quote, but the main character, Don Draper, he says something like Valentine's Day was just like made to sell Hallmark cards.
Literally.
Essentially.
And big massive teddies.
Yeah.
In Home Bargains that say I love you that cost a tenner, but where are you going to put it? Who's got the space for that?
Can you be getting one of those every year?
Imagine. Bet there's someone out there that gets one of those every year. They must have like a house big enough to store them in. They've just got a room full of these teddies.
Yeah.
I mean, I do love a good teddy. I can't even lie and throw shade at people that like teddies because I am a bit of a teddy hoarder, but no. Those Valentine's teddies just don't do it for me. Yeah. And do you know what else I don't like? Build-A-Bears. I find them naff as well.
Yeah. I've never had a Build-A-Bear.
Really?
I always wanted one when I was younger, and then my mum was like, no, it's a waste of money. She's very frugal.
Say it how it is. Yeah, I remember when, this isn't funny, I remember when my rabbit, Ash, died, and my parents took me to the Trafford Centre to get me a Build-A-Bear of a bunny. And I was meant to call it Ash in memory of Ash the rabbit, right? So the woman at the desk was like, what do you want to call it? And my mum was looking at me like, oh, say Ash. And I was just like, Snowy. Like, why did I call this Build-A-Bear Snowy?
Sorry, Ash.
Anyway, so was Ash. Oh, that rabbit was so dumb.
Was he named
cute.
after Ash Ketchum?
Ash Ketchup. Yes, he was named after Ash Ketchum. I was obsessed with Pokemon.
Oh my god, I've been playing the new Pokemon.
Have you? Joe keeps saying how much he wants it. Is it good?
Yeah. Like, it's a bit frustrating in parts. I've actually not played a Pokemon game probably since Pokemon Yellow back on the Game Boy Color.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, I miss Game Boys so much.
Yeah, I'm enjoying it. I'm enjoying it.
Oh, yeah.
It's like reliving my youth.
I like a bit of nostalgia. Anything that brings the nostalgia back is always a good time.
I'm trying to catch an Eevee at the minute.
I think that's such a cute...
Eevee,
you know that's a fox?
My favourite. Yeah, like, it's my favourite. It's like a little Arctic fox.
Yeah, me and Joe had like a full-on debate.
Not an Arctic fox, like one of those like desert foxes, the opposite of an Arctic fox. One of those ones with like the long ears.
I don't know what that is.
I can't think of what it's called.
Yeah.
But yeah, I want 8 Eevees so that I can evolve them all into the different
stages of life.
Well, there's like 8 different things you can evolve an Eevee into.
Oh, is there?
So yeah, that's like, I've not even caught one yet.
Well, keep trying, you never know.
Fingers crossed.
This time next week you might have caught some Eevees.
But actually, like, yeah, I've not been reading a lot recently because I've been finding, like, at the minute, I'm just getting into bed and playing that, like, in the evenings.
Do you know what we need to do? We need to buddy read The Smiling Man, the second Joseph Knox book in the, what is it, the Aidan Waits
trilogy. So we both, we kind of buddy read.
Danielle sped ahead.
Danielle read it in about 2 seconds. I took about 3 weeks.
It was so good. It was so good.
Yeah, I loved it.
I honestly, I stayed up so late. I love my sleep, so I don't really go to bed that late. But yeah, I stayed up super late to finish that because I was just like, so good. And I think the fact that it was set in Manchester too. I was just like, this is the creme de la creme of thrillers.
But I think the next books are set in London, and I'm like a bit sad about that.
Oh, I think they're set in Manchester because he said that when I wrote my review on Bookster, he said that the locations in the second book are more accurate in Manchester than the ones in the first.
Okay, maybe in the third one he goes to London then or something. Because we both read True Crime Story, which is like his standalone novel.
Amazing.
Also set in Manchester.
Yeah.
I just love the way that he writes Manchester. Like, even if it's not like geographically accurate all the time, I just like that he just writes it in like such a grey, dark, moody way, which I quite like.
Yeah, I do enjoy his writing so much. There's just something about it it's just great.
Yeah. And we met him as well, didn't we?
Oh, we did. He signed our books and we were like, oh, thank you.
Yeah, and like just hearing him kind of like talk about his processes and stuff, like,
yeah,
I enjoyed that.
And the fact that he loves like practically writing himself into every single book.
I swear to God, like the main characters, well, not the main, but like in both those books, he's definitely there.
In there.
Yeah. He actually names himself in True Crime Story.
Yeah, Noxie.
Foxy Noxie.
Yeah, but we do need to read that.
Definitely.
Feel like once I've finished this Spanish love deception, we should get onto it if you're feeling ready, and then we can give like a little review on the podcast.
Yeah, definitely.
People. I've got a feeling it's going to be a certain 5-star though, for sure.
Well, we've covered quite a lot again on this week's podcast. I feel like our conversation kind of just always takes us on a little,
a million and one tangents. Yeah, no, it definitely does. I just think there's so much to talk about though, isn't there? The pop culture sphere
and
us
two can just talk forever.
Yeah, we should make a special one-off episode where we just talk for like 8 hours, a whole working day of speaking.
Live stream or something.
Oh gosh, can you imagine? Yeah, well, thank you so much for joining us. We hope you've enjoyed our second episode.
Yes.
Ooh, and we'll be back soon.
Yeah, and if you want to, keep up with all of our updates, we are on Twitter, that's at NAPCpod, and we're also on Instagram at Not Another Pop Culture Pod.
Yeah, so follow us and keep up to date.
Bye.
Bye-bye.